Welcome to Homes Live, dealing with important topic. This title, dealing with employment. Just joining us. Comment. Tell us where you're watching from. To hear. Go along if you have any questions, comments. You're welcome to add those. Oh, that's live show that we can dealing with guests to help us with the topic, and it is Mr. Matafwali. Welcome. My name is Mwindula Mbewe, pastor at Hillview Baptist Church, and I'll moderate and pose the questions and pose both the questions I have and any that you may have with comments to Mr. Matafwali. Maybe you could begin by telling us something about yourself, your family, your church.
Thank you again for having me. My name is Emmanuel Matafwali. I am an accountant by profession. Been working for perhaps just a little 7 years. I am married. My wife is a public health professional, and together we have 2 children. And I serve the Lord at Water Baptist Church, and the Lord has privileged me to serve as an elder in that congregation.
All right, thank you very much. I'm not sure why you were selected for this particular topic. Have you gone through a season of unemployment, perchance?
Maybe that could be the reason, but yes, in that time period that I mentioned, I worked, let me say, the first 12, 13 years of my working career, I worked for NGOs. And as you might know, these have projects that are funded by donors, and these projects do come to an end. And twice in that period, I have had to go through unemployment. 2007 to 2008 thereabout, and 2012, and both as a result of projects coming to an end, you have to wait to look around for a job. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, I'm sure with what we're hearing from the US with Trump, probably are getting a lot of NGO people tuning in, because if they haven't been cut off, perhaps they are worried that they will be cut off. And so hopefully this will be helpful for them. Well, let's begin. First question. How can a Christian, and at least you can speak even from your own experience, how can a Christian maintain their faith and trust in God's provision, God's ability to provide for them during a season of unemployment? How can they maintain the trust that God will provide for them while they are unemployed? You can start there.
Thank you. Thank you for that question. Perhaps by way of introduction, may I say that generally speaking, unemployment will impact people differently depending on the stage at which they are. And in this case, if you think of a person who's just graduated from school, college, and waiting to be employed, the impact is different. And an individual, perhaps like in my case, you are working, you have a child, and you are married, you are no longer employed, the impact is totally different, and things like that. And so, coming back to your question, maintaining obviously presupposes that somebody could actually get to a stage where their trust in the Lord sort of wanes as they are going through a process or the period of unemployment. But I would like to begin by saying really that trusting in the Lord or faith in the Lord in that season can grow or decrease, for lack of a better term. And so one of the things, obviously, that you must do as an individual, as a Christian, is to feed your faith that it might grow. What are you feeding it on? Obviously, it is the scriptures. You are feeding your faith on the promises of God. You are feeding on a firm understanding of who God really is in terms of how He reigns over your life and generally the world around us, your own responsibility, and things like that. And it is these things that strengthen your faith. One important thing, obviously, is that people tend to withdraw when they are unemployed, perhaps because of a sense of inadequacy or shame or anything like that. But in actual fact, it's the time to engage, be in the fellowship of believers. But finally, you must also be constantly in prayer. Pray to the Lord that He will come through sooner than later. So, prayer, feed your faith, and fellowship.
Yeah, that's helpful. The idea that there seems to be, as you've pointed out, a sense of shame that plagues people. They are out of work, and the tendency is to not want people to keep asking, "Oh, how are things going? Is there anything new?" And you get a bit embarrassed of always saying, "No, nothing yet." But saying, "So what are you doing now?" Nothing. And so it becomes easier to sort of hide out. And I think that leads us to our second question: how can a Christian deal with the emotional and psychological impact of unemployment, such as feelings of shame and inadequacy? So you have said that can maintain your faith and trust by drawing closer to the Lord and His people and feeding on His word through the means of grace and so on and so forth. But what if there's this barrier of shame and inadequacy that I would like to feed my soul and get there, but I'm a bit ashamed, or I feel inadequate, I feel less than, and that's stopping me from getting close. What would your counsel be? How can they deal with those emotional issues?
All right. Thank you again. Now, that obviously has to do with the way that an individual is